So mate, got a few people to work with today?
Yeah, New Zealand is very popular here at Interski. As you can see, we've got a massive crew of people following on our technical and both teaching workshops. It's going to be great. Super excited to share a piece of what we do.
We try and keep it simple. There are forces at work. Newton's laws of motion, the snow pushing back at us, not us pushing on the snow. All these factors is what we try and take into account, and we try and develop a system where the instructors and therefore their students have an understanding of these forces, and they're able to then apply that to the situation they're in. Alright, so today I'm just going to talk about the forces. Alright, I'm sure we're all aware that there are forces. It's the laws, the natural laws of the universe. And as we said, we can't change them. Well, so we just got to stick with them, work with them. Cool.
So what are you doing now, mate?
Setting up a bit of a skiing approach, trying to demonstrate a dynamic medium radius where we're controlling our outcome, which is controlling the relationship between the center of gravity and base of support.
And there's a couple of skills that we really strongly encourage. Somewhere in this phase, there's got to be some kind of pressure control, and we've got to be releasing that pressure so we can flow into the next phase. We believe that in here, we need to maintain some separation so that the performer can control the movements and the ski as it moves into the start of the turn. And the other thing that we want to start in here, especially in the performance turn, we are starting to make that weight shift, or we're starting to make moves to prepare ourselves for full weight onto the new outside ski by the time we get to the top of the turn. Alright, so that's a lot. We're going to pick one of them. And the one we thought we'd look at today, and we're going to encourage us to ski, is we're going to look at how we control and then release the pressure at the end of the turn. We're going to talk about there needs to be some kind of softening, or in English, softening means like when you soften, or a flexion movement. Yeah, a bend through the ankles, knees, hips, in order to control that pressure and allow the skier to float into the next turn. Cool. So I'm going to encourage you, we're going to just give you an example of the versatility. We're going to slow it down a little bit. Parallel turn, just enough speed, you're keeping parallel. But I want you to look at that same there, see if you can feel yourself, where we're going to encourage that same movement pattern at the completion of the turn, so that we control the pressure, release, and allow the skier to flow from one turn to the other. We use a thing that we call the movement descriptor, or I know if you're in North America, like sometimes it gets called DIRT, which the duration, intensity, rate, range, and timing of a movement. So you might be, so down there in our basic parallel turns, the timing of the movement might be a little bit off from when we're doing a dynamic turn. The range, that's the amount that you do the movement, that will be less because you're not going as fast and the forces are less. Yeah, so it's the same skill, but maybe applied in a different way. And that's that is, if we can get that across to you guys today, about how we're trying to create this structure with versatility, then boom, I've done my job. Because that's where it's at right there. Is this idea of the same skill, but maybe applied differently with an understanding of the forces and the intention of the skill. Alright? So, as always with these things, you give one example, then maybe you give another example. Try again. So we're going to do another example, but this time we're set up and we're moving into the initiation phase. Alright? So moving into the initiation, we believe again there's a number of skills in here that need to happen. Need to be able to start to create a platform and get some grip. And we believe you're going to do that with some good and skillful leg activity to start with. Alright, and then from there, other things that we need to get in there, we need to get up on top, have this leg activity, have a more positive completion of the weight shift to the new outside ski, and away we go. Alright? I'm going to tell you a quick story. There's a diagram that I've seen many, many times. And these two lines I've just drawn on the snow, that represents your base of support. It's the skis. And then in all our manuals, we then draw another line that comes inside. And the line that comes inside, that would be the center of gravity. Like we're looking at it from a drone above. We found that when you drew this, or when we drew it in our manuals, it was like we got, did anyone do art at school? You know, like the French curves, those things. It was like drawn with perfect symmetry. Like it was just a geographic or a geometric shape. But when we looked at it, what that meant was a lot of our students, our instructors, they got this idea that at the top of the turn, as you went into initiation, you had to dive your center of gravity into the new turn. But if we go back to our statement, we've got to work with physics. If you just dive inside, you're just falling. We need to move in such a way that we keep our center of gravity up above our base of support so that we can move with our legs. That creates a platform. Because we are traveling, the snow pushes back, and then because the snow is pushing back, your center of gravity has to move inside in order to balance with the forces. Rather than just moving your center of gravity inside and then hoping that something comes back at you. All right? So this is a skill that we're working on here. I reckon on this terrain, let's just go and take it for a ski in our own skiing. And we're going to encourage you, this time Josh, you're going to stay here?
Yep.
We're going to encourage you to see if you can feel that you have created a platform, then you move inside. What it means to this diagram is that as you come around, your center of gravity doesn't just come straight in. It actually has to follow your skis for a little bit until you get that give back from the snow, then the center of gravity will move in. What we found out is our diagram was wrong. We've changed it.
What's going on now, mate?
So we've just moved from the completion, we're into the initiation phase, and we're just talking about the skill really of creating a platform. So understanding that our knowledge of the forces and how they work on us, what didn't quite line up with the diagrams in our manual. So we are changing the diagram so the center of gravity and base support travel together through the initiation for just a split second longer, and then the platform is created underneath that. Okay? Then we have the snow starting to push back on the skis and the center of gravity can move inside.
So we're going to be really specific down here. To make the railroad track, I want you to find yourself, get into a position or into a stance where you can access this movement here. And as you come down to make these railroad tracks, that's the movement I want you to make, because that's the skill we're developing. This ties in really well to that first skill we talked about. And that is we're coming through and we finish the completion, we've actually flexed a little with our leg. That will put the performer in a really good stance so they can access this movement. We use 4 movements. Yeah, and those movements can relate to the ski or it can relate to the body. And it's very simply, we call them fore aft, rotational, lateral and vertical. Yeah, or backwards and forwards, round and round, side to side, up and down. Right? And we use those 4 movements all the time. So the question I got before was, oh, do you not use some vertical movement? And I'm like, yeah, we do. It's there all the time, but my focus today is not the movement, it is the skill that needs to be achieved. And that's where the versatility will come from. Because you as an instructor, or your students there, you have the versatility to use whatever movements are suitable for the student on that day, on that hill, with the snow and the equipment that they're wearing. Accurately move their center of gravity to the inside of the turn, creating a greater edge angle, more force, but at the same time using their upper body to maintain balance towards that outside ski. Yeah, or sometimes it gets called angulation. And one of the things we really stress to our instructors, and especially about a level 2 instructor, is to understand what we're talking about here in a wedge parallel. The forces will become stronger. As the forces become stronger, in a wedge parallel, their center of gravity will move slightly inside of the turn. It has to. It's the laws of physics. Yeah? So as their center of gravity slightly moves inside, their outside ski goes onto a greater edge angle and gives them the grip. Their inside ski, when it moves in, flattens, therefore making it very easy for them to release it and go to parallel. In that process, we also have to teach them, as the center of gravity moves in, to balance to the outside ski using their upper body. So if we can understand this in a basic wedge parallel turn, we're setting them up for success as they get faster and faster and into more dynamic ski. So it's exactly the same thing.
Sitting here on the triple chair in Pamparovo with Interski team manager Garett Shore, director of the Rookie Academy and NZSIA committee member.
Hey guys.
Garett, could you please tell us in a few words how the NZSIA team are doing so far?
Right, the NZSIA team are doing a great job. Really, really cool to see them performing on the global stage like this, all loving it, having a great time, skiing really well. Thank you.